Hey guys, this is part 2 of Tarot Quarantine Q&A. If you missed part 1, I will leave a link to it in either the cards or the description box below. But that part was dedicated to non-tarot related questions. And so in this part, we do dive into cards and spirituality. So thank you all again to those who submitted questions. I don't think this video will take as long as the last one, but we will see how much I ramble. So, first question, how would you describe your spirituality? I always have a tough time with this question because I don't know how I feel like I should have like a one-word label or something, or something pat as a way to just quickly describe my spirituality, but I don't. I think many of you have heard me say before that I'm a non-witch who likes witchy things. I don't identify as a witch, or I don't call myself a witch. I've used the term eclectic, and yet that seems a little odd to me too. I mean, I guess it's accurate in that I do take a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and it's what resonates with me. It's my own unique practice. So that's the best I can do. Favorite tarot card depiction in the minors. So my favorite tarot card depiction for the minors would be the Nine of Pentacles from the Everyday Witch Tarot. I love everything about this card. You have this person sitting outside, enjoying a good book, enjoying wine. They have their cat somewhere, oh yes, on their shoulders. I mean, who would not want this life? I'm allergic to alcohol, so maybe I would have to pass on the wine, but otherwise, I love everything about this card. When you get a new deck, do you have a process to learn the deck? That depends on the deck. If I feel I can read with it straight out of the tuck box, and it just comes with a little white book, then no, I don't really have a process. I just start using it right away. With indie decks or decks that come from, say, Llewellyn that have a substantial guidebook, I will read through the entire guidebook and study the cards before really working with that deck. Do you have a tarot journal? If yes, what's in it? I do. I have this like tarot notebook, so it's like a dump of things. I'm not super precious about this because if I get too precious about my journals, then I don't journal or I don't take notes. So it's just like notes about anything that I've been learning. So I have notes on Lenormand in here, when I was doing Marseille study, when I tried to do rune study. That's all in here. I will write down spreads that I like. And so, there's no organization except that I have like marked down spreads with stickers so that I know that they're spreads that I can refer back to. And I used to record my deck interviews in here as well. But I don't really do deck interviews so much anymore. And if I would put it in this bullet journal, and this is where I do primarily tarot related journaling and reflection, but I also dump other things in here too. It really is kind of whatever I want to do. So just to show you some of the things that I've written in here, let me see. Okay, so this is random, so this isn't really tarot related, but like I will, when I'm in the mood to color, after I've done coloring, sometimes I will just kind of paste it in here so that doesn't feel like a complete waste of time, just sitting on my shelf. What's this? Oh, So this, I was trying to practice my serif lettering, and I guess I was also in a mood. Let's see here. Oh, this was the Tarot Community Advent Calendar that Amy from Strength Reversed did last year, and I had a lot of fun with that. So I just kind of recorded little notes from people who posted comments about each of the different topics, and that was a lot of fun. So thank you, Amy. What else? Okay, I totally stole this off of Renee from Meadowlark Mystic. No, not this one. This is 20. This one, the year in review for 2020. So I stole that off of her and did that. Let's see. Spread. I usually do a year ahead spread for my friend. So this one's hers and this one's mine. Kwanzaa. I did the Kwanzaa spreads, and these actually posted up on Instagram, so you can find those there. But I had previously just kind of recorded them in here and then post them in Instagram. So yeah, the Kwanzaa challenge, or it's 7 days of Kwanzaa. How many days was it? I think it was 7. That was really eye-opening. Sometimes I will just put in like gifts, pictures of gifts and notes from people in the community. Yeah, random. So you can see it's just so random. It's just a dump of mainly tarot related stuff. Okay, so, oh my gosh, Bernie memes were life to me. Like that week, I just lived on Bernie memes. It was what my soul needed. And so I did paste a few of my kind of favorite Bernie memes. And then Solstice Shop on Instagram created a Bernie spread. So I did that. That was fun. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And who knows, that might change again in the future, but as of now, this is what works for me, and I've really been enjoying it. Next question. Tracy at Becoming Temperance had 2 videos out last year. One was how she used tarot, and the other was her tarot routines. So that's my question, although they might fit better into videos of their own. Okay, so I do remember those videos from Tracy. And Tracy, if you're watching, we miss you. I don't know where she is, probably just living life, doing her thing. But anyway, so yes, I did do VRs to those, but they're pretty old, and things have since changed. So mainly I read for myself, and I use tarot for personal development and growth. But something that I would say now that I wouldn't have said before is that I also use it for forecasting. I think in our daily lives, we all try to make predictions on any number of various situations. We just do it without the use of cards. And we know that it's not a promise, there's no guarantee, but it is something that we exercise in our daily lives. And so I just now am kind of more open to putting tarot in the mix and asking specific, more forecast type or predictive questions. Again, knowing that there's no guarantee, it's with the mindset that nothing is a promise, right? Just like in real life, nothing is a promise. So as far as my routine goes, it changes. Especially with the pandemic, it's definitely fluctuated. It's definitely changed from when I did that VR. So I will start out the day with just either a quick Lenormand spread or a quick tarot spread, like a 3-card spread. Just kind of a general okay, what do you have to tell me today? What do you have to tell me? And actually, I've been doing that the past few weeks with the Golden Girls Tarot, which, thank you, Jason, if you're watching this. Love it so much. It's fun. It's a fun way to start off the day with kind of like a sassy or smart-assy message from the girls. So that's been fun. If I want to do a more in-depth morning spread, there are morning spreads that I have recorded in my tarot notebook that I will use. And then in the evening, and again, this is not like every single day, but throughout the week, in the evening, I will do a spread that is kind of like a rose, thorn, and bud spread. So I don't know if you've heard of rose, thorn, bud, that kind of little game. That where you end your day kind of reflecting on. So the rose is meant to represent something that you would be grateful for that happened, something that you can show gratitude toward that happened in your day. And then thorn is maybe just something that wasn't so great and that you should release. So something negative. And then bud is, it's an opportunity, something that might present itself, to the next day, or yes, just something to look forward to. And so I have actually kind of made that into like a reading when I want to reflect in my evening. And that's been working really well for me. I do really like that. And I think that's pretty much it when it comes to any semblance of a routine. Deck regrets. What mod did you regret? And did you repurchase the deck because the mod was so effed up? Okay, the mod that I regretted was trimming my Sun and Moon Tarot. I did not like the Thoth, Toth keywords on that deck, so I decided I would just trim off the sides and the top with the keywords. But the problem is that I used too large of a corner rounder setting. And so for one of the cards, the title down below is Princess of Pentacles. That one got cut off and it bothered the living crap out of me. It's just, that's how I am. I couldn't deal. And so, but instead of repurchasing the deck, I just decided to do away with the titles and just leave the image, which it turned out fine. But yeah, that was one that I definitely regretted. When you started your tarot channel, were you intimidated by other readers because they were more experienced than you? Hell yeah, absolutely. And I think even now there are times when I feel intimidated, or that kind of imposter syndrome comes back for whatever reason, and I'm like, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? I'm what do I have to say that's of any use to anyone? So absolutely, and that's why it kind of took me as long as it did to work up the courage to post anything, because I been thinking about it for a while and just kept pushing it out of my mind because I was too intimidated, too scared, just, yeah. So absolutely, it's normal. What advice do you have for tarot tubers who are just starting or are thinking about starting their channels? So I would say one piece of advice is that you should try not to overthink it too much, because, if you're like me, if you overthink and over ruminate, you'll just never post anything. And be comforted by the idea that you can always take down that video. Like if you post a video and you truly loathe it, you can take it down. So there is, in essence, a way of going back. But yeah, I would say just don't overthink. And, and fear is it's such a strong emotion when going through, the prospect of being a tarot tuber. But you will find that people in this community are so welcoming. I haven't heard yet of anyone who said, oh man, you guys are such shitheads. You know, I put up my first video and all you did was shit all over it. I've never heard that. Knock on wood. Another piece of advice I would give is to, present yourself and your channel in the way that makes you feel the most comfortable and safe. So what I mean by that is if you need to give yourself a different name for anonymity, do it. If you need to just film top down or, not show your face, fine, do it. If you need to hide your sub count and the likes and dislikes because you think it's gonna F with your head, do it. There's nothing wrong with any of these options. You have to do what makes you feel most comfortable, and don't let people make you feel like doing any of those things is inauthentic. Don't entertain those ideas at all. It's not about inauthenticity. It's about what makes you feel like you're in a comfortable and safe space to then be yourself, right? So those people who tell you those things, you can just tell them to suck it hard. Oh, and also don't feel the need to buy a shit ton of equipment and tech. I mean, when I first started out, it was with my my laptop, which did not work out very well. And then later on I switched to my phone, and then just some garden grow lights that I stole from my husband. I mean, that was my kind of setup for a time. And then I finally invested in a ring light, which wasn't that expensive, and one of those, what do you call them? Gooseneck mounts for top-down videos. Again, not expensive. So you really don't have to spend a lot of money, especially in the beginning when you don't know what kind of setup works best for you. You don't know, you're just figuring things out. So just play around for a little bit and then make those choices later on. Do you have an indie deck on your wish list that you haven't purchased yet because of the high price tag? Nope. What does your hubby think about tarot? Do you ever make him pull a card? He thinks it's cool that I have tarot as kind of this hobby and passion. I've never made him pull a card, but I have made him sit with me while I flip through a new deck, and I have shown him. I've pressured him into a walkthrough, essentially a flip through of a deck, but he's also really good about that too. Do you have a distinct tarot reading approach and oracle reading approach that are different, or do you work with them the same way, or is it more deck specific? I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm interpreting this correctly. So, distinct approach as in distinct from maybe how other readers use tarot and oracle, not so much. So nothing really innovative, nothing unique. I've always approached tarot as kind of like the main attraction, the main event. So that's my focal point. And that's what I go to for insight into the deep stuff and not so deep stuff, just it's my main jam. And then I have used oracle as maybe a clarifier for tarot, although I really don't do that anymore. I have also used oracle as kind of just a single card pull for just a general message in the morning or to round out my evening. But oracle, I've never asked specific questions or for specific insight. For oracle, I've never done structured spreads, really, not to my memory. And so I would say that I don't really use oracle all that much anymore. I've been moving away from it. I still do have a few Oracle decks, but lately what I've loved doing is I've been using tarot on tarot. So I've been pairing tarot decks together for my readings, and I've really been having a lot of fun with that. I learned that from Renee over at Meadowlark Mystic. I will try to leave a link to a video where she kind of walks you through how she uses tarot on tarot. And she also has a tarot side-by-side series that's like one of my favorites. So I will leave links somewhere. So that, I hope that answers the question. But yeah, Oracle, that's kind of going by the wayside, I gotta say. Whenever you feel like doing something with your cards, but you don't feel like doing a reading, what is your most favorite activity? So I have a few things that I like to do. Queen of Fates is kind of like just a fun solitaire-like game that you can play with tarot. And I haven't played that in a hot minute though, but it is a fun game, and I can try to leave a link to a good video tutorial on that. Something that I've been doing a lot lately is that I've been just kind of, I've been putting on a video or maybe an audiobook, and I've been putting decks back in order. Just as a way, I don't know, it's just kind of meditative, and, you get to actually look at the images more closely, and it's just kind of a fun and relaxing thing to do. So I've been doing that. And also, if it's a deck that I already own, I might, and I haven't maybe touched it in a little bit, I might pull that deck out and find a YouTube video on someone else who has done a walkthrough or a flip, a review of that deck, and just kind of hang out with that tarot tuber and reconnect myself with that deck. Quick check-in on how you feel about tarot identity as hidden identity. So once again, if I'm interpreting your question correctly, then do you mean keeping tarot practice private from others? So I can only speak for myself, because I think everyone has to do what, once again, what makes them feel safe and what makes them feel comfortable. For myself, people know I do tarot. I don't keep that a secret. So people know that I read tarot, but what they don't know is that I have a YouTube channel. I think, and I talked about this in a previous video about kind of, coming out of the tarot tube closet, for lack of a better phrase. But since that video, the status of people knowing my channel, I don't believe has changed, to my knowledge. So back then I said that only 2 people knew that in my offline world, that I have a YouTube channel, and I believe that is still the case. And I am fine with keeping it that way. Actually, I don't feel really bad about it. I don't know. I will say, for full transparency, there is still that kind of cringe factor in the idea of people finding out that I have a YouTube channel, like people watching my channel, for fear of judgment. Of course, I still have that fear of judgment. So yeah, that's a thing. That's still a thing. And it wouldn't be the end of the world if somebody found out that I had a channel. It wouldn't be the end of the world. And still I feel a little like cringy about it. Not gonna lie, I feel a little bit panicky when I think of that idea. Also, I kind of like that tarot tube is something that's separated from my kind of offline life. I like that delineation, because, I don't know, it's just something for me and something for us, as opposed to my other friends and people who don't necessarily understand to the full extent my my passion for tarot. If you could delete one card from the deck, which would it be? Lovers. The Lovers. I'm a Gemini. It's my card. And I said what I said because I have never really connected with that card. And I'm better about it now, but before when I would pull it, in a spread, I would just be like, oh God. But I've made peace with it now. I am okay with it now. And still, like, if it were just magically deleted from the deck, I wouldn't cry about it. I feel as though a lot of kind of the traditional meanings and kind of takeaways that you get from that card could easily be derived from other cards in the deck. So I'm not a fan of the traditional imagery either. I mean, I have no problems with, Christian symbolism or anything. I just don't like, I don't know why. I'm not a fan. Sorry. Not really. I'm not really sorry. What do you think of the Dior Spring Summer 2021 video? I loved it. I loved it. I watched it a few times actually. I thought it was so well done. The Fool was my least favorite because of the kind of giggling that got old after a while. But otherwise, I mean, that's just a small gripe. It was beautifully done. The music was on point. The fashion was amazing. And speaking of the Lovers, I really enjoyed the ending and the video's interpretation of the Lovers. The kind of, masculine and feminine converging, coming together. I really enjoyed it. If you could have a tarot card over for tea, which card from which deck would it be, and what would you serve for tea? So I chose this card from the Golden Girls Tarot, the Three of Pentacles, because I mean, who wouldn't want to have tea with these ladies? I think this would be a good time. And I would probably get tea from the Classy Hippie Tea Company. They're based in California, but they have some delicious tea. I don't know what flavor I'd get, but I feel like I couldn't go wrong. And I would probably also get some like little finger foods or pastry from the nearby Sheila Bakery, which is like a Korean bakery. Their food is delicious. So I would also have that available. Do you interview your tarot decks when you get them? Which questions do you ask? I don't do that so much anymore. I used to. And it's not to say I would never interview a deck again. It's just something that I really haven't been called to do. But when I would interview a deck, I would use Katie Flowers' spread. And some of the questions would be like, what are your strengths? What are my strengths? What is our potential together? Describe yourself. So I really liked that spread. Let's see. Are you creating another deck? Who knows? Every time I say, no, I'm done creating a deck, then I make another deck. So I don't know. Maybe. What is the last deck you bought? It was the Line Strider Mini that I bought at the end of last year. It was just to kind of, support a small local witchy shop. And I don't have the Line Strider. It was really cute because it's like this big, and I haven't worked with it too much, but I like it so far. Have you ever paid for a tarot reading? I have not, but I would seriously like to get a professional reading one of these days. How many decks, tarot and oracle, do you currently own? Do you consider yourself a deck collector? So I own 27 tarot, 5 oracle, 6 Lenormand, and 3 playing card decks for a total of 41 decks. And I'm pretty happy with that. I do consider myself a collector. I mean, I try to use all my decks. I buy decks with the idea that I'm going to use them. And I don't rule out the possibility of buying a deck just for collecting purposes. I mean, I'm using the term collection very loosely. And so I do consider myself a collector. Has tarot affected the way you see things now? Or in general, has tarot brought any changes into your life? I would say that tarot has been my most successful means of self-reflection and meditation. So it has been a very valuable tool in that respect. It's helped me to trust my intuition more and to strengthen my intuition. It's reminded me of my own agency and the power of my own agency. And it's just, it's just brought joy into my life. I think it's just been such a gift. Decks and card slinging, I mean, it's fun. It makes me happy. Even when the messages themselves don't make me happy, tarot makes me happy. And the people I've met through tarot, that's been a gift as well. That's really been life-changing. Were you raised under any particular religious or spiritual doctrine? And if so, how did you get from there to where you are now? So I went to church when I was a little kid for a time, but my parents were pretty non-religious and pretty flexible. They never forced me to do anything. So when I got bored of church, they didn't make me keep going. My experiences with Christianity weren't bad. I was just a little kid with a very short attention span. But I look on Christianity, or Jesus Christ, Mother Mary. I look on those figures quite fondly. I look on certain Bible stories quite fondly, or just that they're engaging stories. But yeah, I fell away from that pretty quickly in my youth. I will say that as a kid, I was always a witch wannabe. I was always into playing magician, playing sorceress. I was into using crystals, even back then, collecting and using crystals, pretending to do spells. And so, I mean, I think I've said before, it's not surprising that I am where I am now in terms of my spirituality, because it's like I've kind of come back around to what truly intrigued me and engaged me when I was a wee one. I mean, it's just always been a part of me. So I'm just now kind of in recent years returning to that. Final question. What fictional characters do you most relate to / see yourself as? And which ones do you wish you could be more like? Fictional as in books, movies, shows, comics, etc. So I made this into a tarot question because those other categories are just too hard, can't do it. So I'm sticking to tarot. And so the character that I most relate to is this one from Tarot of the Moon Garden. I mean, this is me. This is where I find happiness, curled up in my bed with my cat, reading or watching YouTube, just being surrounded by quiet, able to wind down and relax. So this depiction is definitely, it's me. And then character I wish I could be more like. And I chose the 9 of Fire, so I trimmed the titles off of this deck. This is the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. Enchanted Forest Tarot, whatever. So I think this was originally titled 9 of Spells. Anyway, doesn't she look so badass? Like, who wouldn't want to be this woman? She is knowledgeable, that she can fend for herself. She is powerful. Just so many awesome crone vibes that, yeah, I want to be her. I hope I can embody some aspects of a character like that in my crone years. That is it. We are done. So I hope you enjoyed part 2 of Quarantine Q&A. If you decide to do your own Q&A, let me know, and I will definitely be dropping questions and tuning in. Until then, hope you all are well. Much love and take care.